Right. I think we're on the air.
Yeah, it says. Yep, it says we're on the air.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Below the Yellow Line podcast on World Racing Media. I am your host, Armani. You can see. And I'm joined here by my buddies Justin, Joseph, and Hunter. Now, we got a good show coming for you guys today. Today, we're going to be talking about, just the previous race weekend that happened last week. We're going to be talking about Long Beach. We're going to be talking about Barber. We're going to be talking about the Bristol race, news, highlights that's been coming out of those race weekends, and we will also be talking about the upcoming race weekends. All right, let's get started.
All right, well, so the Barber Grand Prix happened Alabama and Birmingham yesterday, and Takuma Sato started first. He never looked back and finished first. However, it was Colton Herta who went from hero to zero in a span of two races, from winning at Coda to winning the last place position at Barber. What do you think about that one, Armani?
Yeah, that was interesting to say the least. Like, I honestly thought Colton Herta would actually have a top 5 run, probably, especially coming off all that momentum, being the youngest IndyCar winner now. Winning the first race ever for IndyCar Coda, you'd think he'd have a lot of momentum coming in. And I think he was running inside the top 10 before that engine problem. So that's a shame for him. He literally went from 100 to 0. Like that.
But he's still 5th in points, I believe. He's definitely in the top 5 last time I checked.
Yeah, he's 5th. He's 5th behind Rossi.
Justin, you saw how Takuma Sato got the Rahal veteran team in victory lane. However, the teammate Graham Rahal had a race to forget. What do you think went wrong in that car?
I think there was like a mechanical failure. They had trouble diagnosing the problem of his car. Like, that's what they said, and they didn't know what happened. They still don't know what happened. Still, you never know what happened.
I guess it's just an unlucky mistake, to be honest.
Yeah.
Who else had an engine problem? Well, I know Colton had his problem. Obviously, Graham had his problem. Were those the only engine problems of the race?
So,
I think
they're the only 2 drivers not to finish the race.
Okay.
We had 17 on the lead lap at the end.
Yeah, Takuma Sato, when he won that pole, I was shocked, honestly. I was like, okay, he got a pole, good for him. And I was like, okay, he might lead a couple laps. He's probably going to get maybe like a top 10, top 5. Yeah. I did not expect him to dominate that race. Is this the first time he ever led the most laps to a victory? I know he didn't.
Question. I don't think so. Like in Portland,
he didn't lead the most. I don't think he led the most laps in Portland. I know he didn't do it in Indianapolis in 2017. But what about
for sure not
his Long Beach win?
He led the most. Yeah, I know he led the most laps. I think that
this race he led 74 laps
out of 90.
The only other driver to lead besides him was basically Sebastian Bourdais, Scott Dixon. Those 2 led 10 laps combined. Alexander Rossi, James Hinchcliffe, and the retired Graham Rahal. So he owned the race.
He did. And that was impressive. Rahal could have gotten a 1-2 finish if it didn't have that engine problem with Graham.
But you know what? It helped Takuma Sato get up to 3rd in championship standings.
Here's the question. You think he's going to stay around that area?
Well, he better surpass it at Long Beach, and he's won there before.
That's true. Yeah. Let's talk about something else, that incident with Max Chilton and Tony Kanaan.
I'd say it was a misjudgment. Just a simple pit misjudgment. We've seen it before. Right, Justin?
Yeah, that was just a mistake. a bad mistake. That could happen. If there's just some contact, and that happens. There's a misjudgment.
That's right.
The fact that Max Chilton has a ride over Charlie Kimball kind of annoys me, because especially you saw it here and you saw Dakota. Chilton is running. Yeah, he's fighting for last place. Meanwhile, Pato Award, he's running in the top 10.
Well, Pato Award, we all know he's got a lot more in his ability. We've seen it out there. He's not afraid to make big moves, and I don't know. Max Chilton is just not the risk taker, but I'd say he's more the mistake maker.
Oh. Chilton is someone who should be on the hot seat, but I know he's got connections with Carlin, so he's staying in that ride.
And you gotta know Carlin's still not the greatest team out there. They could use a guy like him. And plus, he came from Ganassi, didn't he?
Oh yeah, but still, it's like, come on, Pato Award. This was his third IndyCar start. He's already got 2 top 10s. Top 10s as Max Chilton. He's only 5 away already from Chilton in general.
Yeah, Max Chilton. I think he's got to step up.
Yeah, he has to.
Maybe he can do it in Indy.
Yeah.
He did lead the most laps in 2017. And again, he was one of the first guys to get lapped in 2018.
The Indy 500 is going to be very intense this year.
Yeah, it will.
Aren't we up to like a 40-car entry list already?
So I haven't reviewed it yet, but I do know some of the confirmed entries.
Can you imagine?
Bump day is going to be crazy.
Can you imagine Fernando, Will Power, Scott Dick? Can you imagine if those guys get bumped?
Oh gosh, that would be shocking.
That would create just a storyline for you.
It's very unforgiving.
Yeah, no one in Indy is safe. That's how it should be.
Remember in 2018 we had James Hinchcliffe miss the Indy 500 in a good car.
That's just an example right there.
Yep.
So, what do you expect to see at Long Beach for the IndyCar Series?
I expect Rossi to be up there. I expect Dixon to be up there. Bourdais to be up there. Can Takuma Sato be up there? I mean, he's won there before, but I don't know how he did last year with Rahal. Then again, they're in their second year together. So, but I expect, the usuals to be up there. Rossi, Power, Dixon, Bourdais.
I think Will Power's going to have the upper end.
He won the pole at St. Pete earlier this year.
And Coda.
It's going to come down between Power and Newgarden.
Yeah, Newgarden won at St. Petersburg this year.
Who do you think is going to win?
Oh, that's tough. I'm still trying to think. It's quite tough picking a winner already.
I think Rossi's going to go back-to-back.
Now we're talking about Long Beach, right?
Yeah.
Let's also mention the other race going on that same track that weekend. You have Long Beach hosting the DPIs and the GTLMs for the WTSC, the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. I gotta slow my roll.
Yeah, what is it called? The Bubba Burger Grand Prix.
Yep, that's the name.
I just find that funny. It's a funny sponsor.
Not food.
Bubba Burger, sponsor Bubba Wallace. You'll go famous.
Oh my god.
How about a grilled cheese sandwich sponsored by myself?
The day they do that is the day Jimmy John sponsors Jimmy Johnson.
Oh my
I'm
god.
still waiting for that day.
It better happen. If that doesn't happen by the time he retires, I'm done watching NASCAR. We need to see just one race. One race. Sponsor Jimmy.
But I was checking for IMSA, there's 19 entries, 11 DPIs, and 8 GTLM cars entered. Only 9.
Short competitive race.
It's only an hour 40 minutes. It's not even 2 hours.
How many Mazdas are in the race? Any Mazdas in?
It's gonna be a interesting race for AMSA.
Are there Mazdas in the race?
Mazda is racing. Yep.
All right, here's the question: are they gonna last?
I don't know.
It's a short race. They will.
Well, they didn't do that at Daytona or at Sebring.
Okay. When they had the engine problem, that was like what, 9, 10 hours, 11 hours in the race.
Well, what about at Sebring?
So that length is like what, 3 times the distance of this race. This is a sprint race for endurance standards.
Yeah.
These are really good crackers.
You know what? I'll make a prediction. If Mazda can stay in the race, I think that they'll get the win.
Oh, absolutely.
For me, there's good. You also have Wayne Taylor Racing, won 2 years ago. They have a chance also.
They got a stellar lineup as always.
They have Ranger Vander Zandy and
Jordan
Taylor in that car.
I think it's going to be down between Mazda, Penske, and Wayne Taylor.
Yeah, I think it's going to be between them 3.
Yeah, Penske, they're bringing 2 entries, right?
Yep.
6 and a 7, I think.
Yeah, they have Dane Cameron, Juan Pablo Montoya in the 6. And in the 7 car, they have
Ricky Taylor, Elio Castroneves.
Yep, they do have those 2.
So out of those guys, who do you think's got the best shot? Well, let's start off by this. Out of Mazda, Penske, and Wayne Taylor, out of those 3 teams, who do you think is going to win?
I think Penske.
I think Wayne Taylor.
But this is Long Beach, and you got 2 former IndyCar drivers in each of those cars at one point or another. Castroneves, Montoya, they're going to bring those cars to the front, especially on Long Beach. That's a technical track. I'm not saying that the endurance drivers don't know about Long Beach, which I'm sure they do, but the upper end, when you're in a competitive situation in a sprint race like this, you're going to need that sprint racing technique. I'd say that Montoya and Castroneves, I don't know who's going to be the better Penske car. They seem equal to me, but they'll be the upper end of those 3 teams.
I want to say Mazda. I don't know. It's just a gut feeling that I have, especially because they've been so dominant. And if it's not been for engine problems, they probably would have won the Rolex 24. So my heart's going to say Mazda. I don't know which Mazda will win, so I'd have to flip a coin on that one, but I think it's going to come out of the Mazda camp.
They're going to have to click sooner or later. I mean, they got to go back to the days when they were...
They need to fix the reliability. They got the speed.
We got to go back to the rotary
reliability.
Back when they won the 787B.
For me, about Wayne Taylor, this season they finished first at Daytona and second at Sebring. They have 2 good finishes heading into Long Beach because they finished second to the 31 DPI at Sebring, and they won Daytona. And they have good shots. They've won there before at Long Beach. So I feel they'll be a contender for the win.
Oh, yeah, and we also got to remember there'll be an easier racetrack to pass through when their GT3s from the GTD class won't be present. The few LMP2s aren't going to be there either.
It's only the GT1 class that's there.
You have a more clear racetrack. I'd say you may see some fast laps, even during the race.
All right. So Joseph picked Penske, I picked Mazda, and Justin picks Wayne Taylor.
Yeah.
All right, I think we got everything covered for IndyCar and IMSA.
Yeah.
On to NASCAR.
Yeah.
Wow, what a weekend at Bristol that was.
Yeah.
It happens, Bristol. There's always something to talk about.
Oh, yeah. As they say, it's Bristol, baby.
Yeah.
It's Bristol, baby.
Well, we got to start off with the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and that came down to really 3 drivers for most of the race, and that one of those 3 drivers ended up in victory lane, Christopher Bell. I thought it was going to be Tyler Reddick or Cole Custer. I didn't think Bell was going to have the upper end. If you remember last year, he crashed out, but that was an innocent mistake, trying to avoid a wreck ahead of him.
Yeah.
Caused by no fault of his own. That's not the case this year. Tyler Reddick had the upper end. I believe he led the most laps.
I think I don't remember.
Someone tell me how Tyler Reddick is having a better season than his championship season. And he hasn't even won yet.
You know what that means? He's got a better chance to defend it.
Well, I mean, he's the points leader. I think it's kind of like everyone knew that Tyler Reddick's championship was a fluke. So he's like, okay, I need to show them that I can actually be that I'm actually championship worthy. Oh, yeah, good for him.
Like also Allgaier was a contender until he cut the
Oh yeah, Allgaier I think was the one that led the most laps. He won stage 1 and stage 2.
Yeah, Allgaier led the most. He cut the right front.
Bell got into his hood. Some internal damage happened to his car. It was enough to take him out of the race, and he was very frustrated.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no. I know, like on Instagram, like God, I follow Allgaier.
Ashley, his wife.
_731. He was like, please win Allgaier, please win Allgaier. And then I commented, let's hope this doesn't end like the last time Allgaier swept both stages. And then he's like, don't jinx it. Next thing you know, Allgaier has a mechanical problem. He has just like what happened in Phoenix last year. So I may have jinxed Allgaier.
Oh my god.
Allgaier will get the win. I think he's gonna have it at Richmond.
Well, I mean, think about it. Last year, it took him until Dover to get a win. And then after that, he kind of just never looked back. Until Phoenix.
By the way, about Richmond, Christopher Bell won there both times. He swept Richmond last year.
Yeah, Christopher Bell. Yeah, he won
both
first and second races.
Yeah, he swept Richmond.
Yeah, JGR just swept Richmond in general. Kyle Busch and Christopher Bell.
Oh yeah, Kyle Busch. How many wins at Richmond does this guy have? I know he has 8 wins at Bristol.
A lot.
6. I think he has 6.
He's got a lot of wins.
Oh, his boy lives.
Including 2 last year from Richmond.
Yep.
It's hard not to count up that 8K car. He's unstoppable.
You also have Brad Keselowski. He's won at Richmond before, and Brad Keselowski, that's been doing well.
Out of Keselowski, Harvick, and Busch, the guys who won 3 in a row last year, Keselowski had the best shot to get 4 in a row. Because think about it. Harvick, he wrecked out early at Fontana. Kyle Busch, let's be honest, he wasn't going to go 4 in a row at Talladega. If he did that, I don't know. The man is the second coming.
Kyle's won at Talladega before.
Only one.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while.
And it was with a different draft package.
Yeah, now it's way different.
But when you saw Keselowski run at Richmond, he was running top 5. So it's
Yeah.
But back to Bristol. Are we done with the Xfinity race?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot K&N. There's also a K&N race on Saturday.
Yeah, we had a K&N race. Saturday afternoon. It came after the Xfinity race, and it was a one-sided show. The young man of Sam Mayer.
Yep.
How many laps did he lead? Like 140 something out of the 150 laps?
No, he led all of them.
No, he didn't lead all of them. He led
Yeah.
no, I think I read it.
all of them. I looked.
Did he?
Because we had breaks in the middle where, like, when the field was frozen, during that brake caution, the positions, regardless of pit stops, don't change.
Yeah.
Huh.
He was unstoppable. Remember who was it? Tanner Gray that jabbed at him?
I don't know.
Even then, he was unstoppable. And we had a lot of good drivers in this race, like Derek Kraus, Haley Deegan.
Haley Deegan finished what, 16th?
They came from the
She
West.
She finished last. She finished 19th.
Who did? 3 of the DJR Krause cars were involved in the first wreck.
We had the 17, the 98, and the 15 with damage.
How did Haley Deegan do? I really didn't pay attention to that.
She finished 16. She blew up on lap 113.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Sam Mayer is the points leader currently, over 3 points over Derek Kraus. Sam Mayer is the points leader.
And remember, Derek Kraus, Haley Deegan, some of those drivers.
Yeah.
Tanner Gray.
Brittany Zamora.
All the races.
Brittany Zamora also.
They're not going to run all the races in the East Series
because they're full-time West.
Right.
And like
standings will fizzle out after a few races.
But right now the 21 points leader, Sam Mayer, he's the points leader. And that 21 car, he's the leader.
They're leeches.
Oh my god. They're not
damn leeches out of the series.
Oh my god.
I
could go on a whole rant on drivers who are in series that should not be in series, not including more than just leeches. But that's a rant for another day.
Yeah, whatever you say, bud.
That's for another day.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We'll save that for when Ian comes to talk about Tyler Reddick.
Because Ian has strong opinions on
that. He has a lot of opinions.
Hey, by the way, I was looking at there's 3 people watching our podcast on YouTube right now. 3 people. So far, we have 3 people watching our podcast on
3 people.
Talking in the live chat.
3 people, 2 likes.
Okay, that's not bad.
Oh, now we got 4.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's probably just because we're tuning into the live stream.
I'm just looking. Just on my YouTube.
Tuning into the live stream. Thank you for joining.
Yes.
Please stay. All right, I think we're done with Xfinity. Let's move on to the Cup race.
Yep.
And all the action starts like on the first half of the first lap.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, like early in the race, Kyle Busch spins in front of most of the field.
Not most of the field. He started back in the middle of the pack.
He started 16th or 17th.
17th or something.
Yeah.
And Ricky Stenhouse didn't get piled in because Stenhouse was locking up the brakes.
Eric Almirola crashed by the.
Oh yeah, Almirola started it. Eric Almirola hit the wall first.
Byron.
And then he never recovered.
It was Almirola, Byron, it was Eric Jones, it was Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Byron got loose, got into Almirola, and that just sent him in the wall.
Yeah, everybody, oh my gosh.
And this happened all in the span of 3 laps.
Yeah. Like, it was crazy.
3 laps at Bristol.
Yeah.
Like,
it reminded me of last year. Like with Chase Elliott, Truex, and
Oh yeah, that wreck. I remember that.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, think about this. Chase and Truex had to come back on Monday. I hate to do that. It's like, okay, time to come back, like 100 laps down.
Yeah, also Chase Elliott got wrecked while he was leading.
Yeah.
And you know
Oh,
what? He
yeah.
recovered too.
Because Ryan Priest cut a right front and, like, he,
Chase
like,
was at an unlucky
spun.
spot.
Chase Elliott slammed on the brakes, and Corey LaJoy had no time to react.
Yeah, Corey LaJoy gave him some of those dude wipes.
It's the second year in a row the leader is wrecked in that race.
Oh yeah, like Larson. Yeah, because Larson wrecked like what, halfway, like 3/4 of the way from the race last
Thanks
week.
to Ryan Newman.
Larson never recovered either.
Larson has just been God.
He hasn't had a top 10 since what?
Phoenix.
Phoenix. That's what his only top 10 of the year.
No, he got a top 10 at Daytona. Somehow.
Well, that's because everyone decided to stop racing and start wrecking at the end.
Yep.
You already know my opinion of the Daytona 500. Let's not talk about that.
Let's just say
Atlanta,
Atlanta,
he most likely should have won, but he cost it on himself with the
Yeah,
speed penalty.
That's right.
Clean air being so holy.
Yeah. True that.
Team Penske dominated.
Oh my gosh!
I think all the drivers led at least 100 laps. I know Blaney led more than 130. Logano led like around 170.
Blaney led the most laps
of all the Penske cars.
Again.
Yes.
The only
he's also the
not manufacturers. Well, the only teams who have won the race this year in the Cup Series is either Gibbs or Penske.
And you know what's the funny thing? After Phoenix, when Kyle Busch got the win, they're like, "Oh, hey, look, 4 different races, 4 new drivers. I'm going into Bristol. The same thing, 4 different drivers."
Here's the thing about Kyle Busch: you pick a track and he'll be dominant at it. It's like Jimmy Johnson at Dover. Like, we can think about Jimmy Johnson at Texas the same way you think about Jimmy Johnson at Dover, the same way you think about Jimmy Johnson at Martinsville or at Bristol. Like, he owns the track, yet he'll own another track that's different. You know, Kyle Busch owns Bristol, and he kind of owns Richmond in a certain sense. And you could say that about Dover. You could say that about Phoenix.
About Phoenix, I don't know. Like, Harvick actually owns it more.
True, Harvick.
Harvick owns Phoenix.
How many wins does he have?
11? Yeah, 11.
He has 9 wins at Phoenix.
11 wins.
Harvick owns Phoenix. Harvick didn't lead a lap in the Phoenix race this year.
Yeah, like the old layout. Harvick
he didn't lead a lap at all, I think, in 2017.
Also, I want to go back to Kyle Busch winning. I'm just saying this because it was obvious. He did not have the fastest car. He only had a short run car, and he caught all those brakes towards the later ends of the race.
In the race, if you notice, I always say this: if Kyle Busch is in the top 5 and there's a late caution and they're going into pit road, Kyle Busch is going to come out with the lead because he has like the best pit crew on pit road by like. It's not even a question.
They know what they're doing.
That's true.
Exactly.
Spot on.
Exactly. But when he raced, he would go into the lead. He could never extend it like more than a second.
Yeah.
And then like come 10, 15 laps later, he's back already to 3rd. So his short run speed for Bristol standards is very, very short run speed.
Now, we have to talk about the flip side of pit crew correlation, pit crew functioning when it goes well. The flip side of all of this, definitely, Justin, you know what we're talking about here. That's Alex Bowman, Greg Ives, and the number 88 Hendrick Chevrolet.
Yep.
They're off par this year.
Mm-hmm.
What do they need to do?
I feel like they should be like a crew chief change because we've seen, remember,
fire everybody.
Alex Bowman pitted in like 28th. Like, he was pitting and done 4 laps down in 28th position. Just like that. Under green, and he kept going back. At one point, he was in the top 10, fell down to 29th, and only recovered to finish 23rd.
That
Yeah.
team's got to do something. Like, they're 21st in points. They're looking like what Junior looked like in 2017.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the pit crew needs to change. I think the crew chief needs to change. And I think there's simple stuff that shouldn't be happening with that team. And I'll give you a great example. Final practice, they should be out there running laps, not changing to a whole new setup that they'll only find out on race day, and then the car is undrivable.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you have a bad qualifying run, make small adjustments. Get out of final practice if there is. Some races don't have a final practice after qualifying. Some do. Bristol was one of them that have a final practice. Get out there, take some laps, make small adjustments. Don't sit there during the whole session and drastically do a makeover on your car and find out how it works on Sunday, because usually that does not work. That's what the 88 was doing with whatever Greg Gibbs was setting up.
Yep.
But I'm sure they'll be marking Talladega on the calendar at this point.
Also about Alex Bowman's car, like he started 14th, was up to like 8th, fell down to 15th, and then he pitted and fell down to 28th. Okay, in all the span of like 100 laps, it was already down out of contention.
You know, it just takes
something's got to happen. Something different has happened with that 88 team. Like this time last season, they already had, after Bristol, I think they already had 2 top 5s.
Yeah, he got top
Or 1 top.
Martinsville, and he got 5th place at Bristol.
Yeah.
Like every
I actually had Alex Bowman on my fantasy live. It's like, okay, it's Bristol. He's probably going to do good. He's probably going to get the top 10 run. He is yet to finish in the top 10 this season.
Oh yeah, his best finish is 11th. This is his best finish.
I'm just saying this right now. If they don't get a top 10 at Talladega, then something has to happen with that team. They need to change the crew chief. They need to change. They need to change the crew. They need to change everything. Fire everybody. Fire everybody.
The auditioning needs to stop at this point. It's time to get to work.
Yeah, like the 88 team at this point is like the audition crew. It's like, okay, here you go. Try not to kill the driver.
But on the flip side, for Hendrick Motorsports, they do have a better program on the 24, I've noticed. They've
and the 9.
With
Chase Elliott also.
For sure. I think the 9 team is established as a top-tier level team that will be running in the top 5 every race. I like what I see out of Chase Elliott.
Yeah, what did he finish? He finished 11th this race, but he had a top 10 car. And once they fixed that power steering, he was nearing the top 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then the pit strategy. I don't understand what all those crew chief. You have like 15 laps to go at Bristol. What makes you think tires are going to work?
They thought.
And 15 laps are fast too.
By the way, they thought
15 was going to go by in like 5 minutes.
By the way, they thought that all the other cars were going to pit at the same time. Because it did happen. It happened last year, except Boyer and Kurt Busch stayed out. Everybody else pitting. And Kyle Larson did not even catch Kurt Busch for the win last year in the night race.
Like, even if you're going to pit for tires, why would you take 4? Take 2 tires. Don't take 4. Don't waste time on pit road.
Penske threw it away after that.
Penske threw it away. Penske, if Keselowski, Blaney, or look, if any of the Penske cars stayed out, Penske would have been in victory lane.
They were fast.
They were the fastest. They were the fastest in the field. I think the best Gibbs car was Kyle Busch. And Hamlin, I put this on Twitter. If we're going to go with the quote-unquote big 3 standards so far for 2019, it's Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, they are. They've been good.
Here's what I said. Keselowski's got the speed. Hamlin has the rebound. Kyle Busch has both.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know Brad Keselowski's penalty yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I figured out why he got penalized. Ryan Newman.
Oh, because the restart, he had a restart violation. I don't know
Ryan
what the
Newman
deal
was
was.
supposed to be ahead, but do you know why Brad didn't know? His
Why?
spotter, Coleman Presley, forgot to tell Brad that the 6 was ahead of him. So that was the spotter issue.
Yeah. How do you forget something like that?
I
It's
don't
like,
know.
you're coming down. You already made a bad pit strategy. So why do you make a bad? You can't forget about that kind of crap.
Well, he forgot somehow, and Brad understood why that penalty happened because Coleman Presley's spotter forgot to tell him about that the 6 is going to be ahead of you on the restart.
You know who didn't forget and who wouldn't forget? Joey's spotter, TJ Major.
Yeah, TJ Majors.
He's one of the best spotters. He's one of the best spotters in the field.
He's a very, very experienced spotter. I think
he won with Dale Jr. He's won with Dale Jr. in the Daytona 500, and he won Talladega 20. He's won at like Dale Jr. and TJ Majors. TJ Majors won races before, and TJ's a great spotter.
He's one of the reasons I picked Logano to win the 500, which almost happened.
He was in it to win it at the end. But I'll tell you, Joey Logano, we're seeing a different Joey Logano than we've seen in recent years.
Yeah, we are.
It's not just him on the racetrack; it's him off the racetrack. Being a father for now a year, spend more time with his wife and son more than he used to. He's able to enjoy that aspect of life, and it's giving him a new outlook at NASCAR. He's not as aggressive, he's not as short-tempered as he used to be. I think Joey Logano has turned the page into his career of the last year, especially with the championship.
Yeah, that's true.
The same thing that's happened with Keselowski and Kyle Busch.
And it's for good reason, too. I think Logano, he's going to be 29 this year.
Oh, yeah, he is.
About a month from now.
That means he'll be 30 in 2020.
Yeah.
He's getting there.
Still in his 20s.
Yep.
Logano has a long way left in his career.
Oh, yeah, no, Logano ain't leaving anytime soon. Like, people talk about how Kyle Busch. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to compare them because Kyle Busch has done a lot more than Joey Logano.
He's checked off every box that you can have an ask for in an NASCAR career except for one.
Oh yeah, Kyle Busch. He just needs that 500, and then he
needs a Daytona 500.
Kyle Busch is already set, but just having it's like Dale Earnhardt. He's already set, but having that 500 and maybe another championship or two will just cement it even more.
He never got the chance to feel complete in his career.
Yeah.
And that was Dale Earnhardt back in the day. I mean, Listen, Kyle Busch may not feel complete the same way about a championship either. Now, Cup championship does not seem right the way he wanted.
Because
because he missed a third of the schedule.
He missed 11 races, and he only raced 25. Everybody else ran 36, and if that all did not get the season, they would have been Kevin Harvick would have won the title.
Like I said,
that season was a joke.
Kyle Busch, I mean, if you want to be a little more legitimate, with the old points formats, would have won the title last year. Would have been his first.
Yeah. Going back to the Bristol race.
Yeah.
I've been saving this to save for a while. Ty Dillon won a stage.
Yep, that's true. Yeah. Him and Clint Bowyer were side by side for that stage.
I remember coming back when it was coming back from commercial break. I'm sitting down. I'm like, why is Ty Dillon in the lead? And I'm like, okay, Boyer's probably going to get by him or whatever. A couple laps go by, and I'm like, I swear to God, if Ty Dillon wins this stage, I look at it, I'm like, Ty Dillon just won a stage. Ty Dillon just won a stage. what is this? I want to just turn off the TV and say, all right, NASCAR, it's been a good like 14 years. I'm done. I do honesty. And
I
he
was shocked.
was top 15 too, so good for him.
Also, we also had Chris Buescher was up there too in that 37 before his problem. Chris
Yeah,
Buescher,
he was destined for a top 10 finish, but we can't have nice things. So
that was awesome if he would have got top 10 in that 37 car. Matt Benton.
you know what that reminded me of? Reminded me of Atlanta, where Hemrick and Priest, they should have got top 10 finishes, but nope, we can't have nice things. They had to finish barely in the top 20.
Well, Hemrick had an issue in the race when he had to make an unscheduled pit stop and had damage. So
And then Priest, I think, got BJ McLeod.
BJ. Oh yeah. Priest hit BJ McLeod on pit road. Like BJ was 6 pit stalls away, and then Priest hits him while looking at his tachometer, and hit BJ McLeod in that 52 car.
who knows, man? Who knows?
Well, I mean, there hasn't been any problems
I'll
ever
say,
since.
I'd say pit road, of course, was going to be tricky in this race. It's Bristol. It's a tight, narrow pit road where you can make a lot of mistakes just coming in and out of the stall.
Yeah, like for Richmond.
All right, you want to talk about some F1?
Yeah, F1.
F1, yeah. We are going to Shanghai in China for round 3 after 2 races complete on the schedule, and 2 drivers have found the top of the podium, and they happen to be Mercedes teammates. Lewis Hamilton won at Bahrain. Shocking fashion.
Charles.
Let's talk about the last race, shall we?
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc, the newest Ferrari driver, starts on pole, breaks the track record, breaks the age record in pole position. When the lights went off, he lost a few spots, and Leclerc had to.
He lost the lead on the first lap, and I think like on lap 3 or 6, somewhere around that, he gained the lead back. And he just drove away.
He actually fought Vettel for the lead.
Oh yeah, you know what's the funny thing? They told him to stay behind Vettel, but Leclerc was like, nah. I'm not Kimmy.
Yeah. I guess they gave him a little leeway on that one, and I'm glad Ferrari stayed light on it because Leclerc, he took the lead and he never looked back for a long time. Was great entering and exiting the pits. He went to take his stops.
Also about that race, remember, like after Lewis Hamilton pitted for the second time in the race, he had good tires. Remember what happened?
With him and Vettel.
Vettel pitted, was staying in.
They were going at it. Lewis got him on the
outside.
Vettel trying him on the outside or something.
And then Vettel spun out.
Yeah, he just spun.
I think I know what Vettel's favorite song. I feel like Vettel's like on the daily list is to you spin me right now, baby, right.
And then like Vettel was just spinning out of the accents, and then the wing blew off the car.
Oh yeah, that got worse because his wing came apart and he had to make an unscheduled stop.
Oh yeah,
Red Bull gives you wings.
And then he had to get all the way to the pit, and he bounced back to finish fifth.
He came back for a 5th place finish and got 10 points
because
out of it.
We also had the Reynolds. Remember the Reynolds? Both of them.
Oh, the Reynolds, and I'll talk about that just after Charles Leclerc.
Oh yeah,
what happened? Something went and missed in Charles Leclerc's car. He led 41 of the 57 laps in the race.
50, something like that.
I think it was 57.
57.
Yeah.
And Lewis Hamilton only led 10 laps, while Vettel led 6.
Like about that,
and
that was a cylinder. There was a cylinder that went bad.
I think something definitely the power went out on that.
Yeah, you saw how slow he was going. His lap times were slower than like Williams' lap times. race. Like there was something wrong with that car. Like
I
the
remember seeing that. I was like, come on, Charles, just hang on. And then Lewis passes him. I'm like, well,
we all knew that it was a matter of time until Lewis Hamilton would pass him.
like about Williams. Williams' lap times were about 1:36. Leclerc's lap times were 1:42, like 4 seconds off. They were not on the pace, like
yeah, Leclerc finished 6.1 seconds
in
back.
third. If do you know what? If there was that, if you know what happened that safety car at the end of the race with the Reynolds.
Oh yeah, the Renaults had basically simultaneous power failures.
It started with Hulkenberg and then Ricciardo.
Daniel Ricciardo.
If that would have not happened, that safety car, Verstappen would have catch that
By far,
yeah.
Yes.
Verstappen would have catch Leclerc for third. Verstappen was closing in that Red Bull. We also had, remember, Roman Grosjean wrecked early. That cars wrecking early in the race. Grosjean spun Daniel Kvyat. We had cars spinning.
I want to talk about Pierre Gasly. I know we're only 2 races in, but what the? It's like you're in a Red Bull now. You're not in Toro Rosso anymore.
He's driving like he's in a third Toro Rosso car.
Yeah.
It's like I've never seen anything like it. Like at least from what I've been watching from F1, it's like
I'm getting concerned too.
Yeah, I'm already starting to hear people say, "Oh, put Kvyat in the Red Bull and put Gasly back in." It's like, yeah, we're only 2 races in. Give it time. But it's like he was barely hanging on to finishing the points.
Oh my god!
Like if Pierre Gasly was like around like the 8th, 10th there, it's like okay, he's maybe getting used to the car. But no, he's running around 12th to 13th, and I'm just there like, what the hell are you doing?
Hey, Pierre Gasly actually finished 8th. Alexander Albon 9th. Daniel Kvyat 12th. Yeah, Alexander Albon, a rookie, he finished 9th.
Albon's doing a lot better than I thought he would.
Like, by the way, again, Roman.
Didn't he win the championship? And
no, he finished 3rd. It was George Russell.
George Russell
and Albon.
Yeah, George Russell's driving for Williams. By the way,
the guy who was 1st in F2 is like I think last in F1 right now.
Roman Grosjean DNF'd again, 2 races in a row.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Haas. I feel like they need a new driver lineup. I mean, Grosjean's time is up. Magnussen,
for me,
he's not too good either. But like I'd say Magnussen at least has some years left. Grosjean is just very unstable.
Like for me, it's like
he was competing for best of the rest last year with Hulkenberg and Alonso and Sainz and Perez.
I don't think you could put them in the same sentence as Alonso because at least Alonso could, I mean, if he drove in Haas, he would have had more.
Yeah, we'll talk about last year in the sense of like for best of the rest, it was tight. It was between Hulkenberg.
And what, we had another McLaren blow up?
Yeah, with Carlos Sainz. Was it a blow up? Carlos Sainz.
But another McLaren failure. And I'll tell you, you think Honda leaving McLaren was the problem solver? No, there's more to the story than what meets the eye.
Right now, Carlos Sainz is last place in standings. Ricardo
he DNF'd in both races.
Ricardo, he has no points. Kubica, Russell,
Giovinazzi.
Yeah.
Giovinazzi was 1 position away from getting points.
Sergio Perez
in Bahrain.
Sergio Perez and Daniel Kvyat each have 1 point. Alexander Albon with 2.
Lance Stroll.
Daniel Kvyat got a point.
Well,
has 4. Hulkenberg has 6. Magnussen and Lando Norris have 8.
We got to talk about Lando Norris for a moment.
Yeah,
he's he's stellar. Like, he's actually exceeding my expectations. I knew that Lando Norris is going to be that kind of driver, but I didn't think he was going to get 8 points at this time of the year, to be real.
Yeah, he's also replacing Fernando
He
Alonso.
replaced Fernando
He
Alonso.
took over Alonso's car. And they
No, Norris took over Van Dorn's car and signed for Alonso.
What?
Well, they announced the replacement of Alonso before. Who replaced Van Dorn? It's
Norris.
It's Sainz.
Oh, it's
No, it was Carlos Sainz.
Oh, I don't know, because like, why remember when Sainz was announced? Like, they were like marketing as Sainz, like.
Either way, it's still 2 McLaren cars.
Either way, it's like it's still like 2 McLaren, same shop, so it's like either way.
I will tell you though, Kimi Räikkönen, I'm very impressed by how he's performed in the Alfa Romeo machine, because he's got 10 points so far, and I was like, okay, last year Charles Leclerc is gonna be decent, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's not because of it's Charles Leclerc. He's not becoming Kimi Räikkönen's carrying that momentum into the next season.
Well, remember Ferrari basically gave like $50 million extra dollars to Alfa Romeo. I think it was 50. It was either 5 or 50 million. Now, if it was 50 million, they'd be running a lot better.
This is F1, so I'm sure it could be 50 million either way.
If it was 50 million, they'd be contending for wins. Because I think like Mercedes and Ferrari, they each spend like 10 million on each car. I don't know. It's somewhere around there. I know they gave them a shit ton of money.
like next race is Shanghai.
Shanghai,
Grand Prix
track for a moment. This is Chinese Grand Prix, and it'll be this Sunday, 2 in the morning. It will be round 3 of the season, and if we take a look at last year's race at China, boy, that was eventful. We had a lot of twists and turns, including some controversy involving 2 drivers, Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel. Vettel like 20 laps in the race, only to get contact with Max Verstappen, and they both went around in a corner.
Well, you know how Verstappen is. He's always aggressive.
Yeah, he was definitely aggressive.
It's lights out, and away we go. Good start.
Like also, Lewis Hamilton has the most wins in Shanghai. He has the most wins.
How many is he?
No, in China, how many does he have?
Like 4 or 5.
And Ricciardo won last year. He led 12 laps of the 56.
I think we can all agree Ricciardo is. If Ricciardo somehow manages to win, like, I don't know.
I don't think he's. I mean, listen, he's going to be in a Renault.
Exactly.
Last year he drove in a Red Bull. But by the way, we all got to remember something. The amount of lead changes in the Chinese Grand Prix last year, this was really anybody's race. For F1 standards, Vettel led 20 laps. Kimi Räikkönen led for 6 laps in the Ferrari, his Vettel's teammate back then. Bottas led 18 laps, and the winner, Ricciardo, led 12.
By the way, I'm looking about. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton won here 5 times. 5-time winner. And his last one came in 27. He's won here in 2008, 2011, 2014, 2015, 2017 is his last one here. He's won there.
Yeah. Lewis Hamilton led every single lap in the 2017 Chinese Grand Prix. 56 of 56 laps.
Like, Lewis Hamilton knows how to get it done at this track. Like, he knows. Like, Mercedes won here 5 times.
Wait, when you guys mentioned who led laps last year, was Lewis Hamilton one of them?
Wait, what?
Did Lewis Hamilton lead laps in last year's Chinese Grand Prix?
I'm checking.
Lewis Hamilton led.
No, it was Vettel led laps. Raikkonen, Bottas, and Ricciardo. They're the lap leaders from last year.
Really, like I said, the lead changed a lot in that race last year.
Well, Hamilton started 4th, and Hamilton finished 4th. Hamilton finished the same position.
Do you think Nico Hulkenberg could get another good points finish like he did last year?
I'm surprised he doesn't have a podium yet.
Like Hulkenberg, he just
I'm very questioning that. Like he has his good runs.
About Nico Hulkenberg, about his car, like he has to stay out of trouble. Like we've seen what happened. Remember at what track was it? Oh, remember at Dubai, that race. Remember when he flipped over? Right.
Oh yeah, in the first lap.
Like he doesn't want to.
Was it a Grosjean he got into?
He got into.
I think it was.
Yeah, he got into someone, and oh my, it was and also he doesn't want to get into. He also doesn't want mechanical failure.
You're right. I'm just looking at last year's stats here. The Chinese Grand Prix. The first few turns in Shanghai International Circuit, it's a long right-hander. Like it's a fast right-hander, and then they go deep into turn one. It's not like a heavy turn one. It's like a little curve in the turn one.
Yeah. By the way, that race is going to really start early. Holy.
Oh yeah, that is actually. I think that's the hardest race to be awake for. But like I said, if we were up for the 24 hours of Daytona, we could easily be up for this.
For me, it was just that 1 hour that I couldn't sleep.
I'll make it work. I'll make sure to have my coffee ready.
But for me, I'm not gonna lay on my bed this time. I'm gonna actually sit down because
you got for me, I gotta stand. You know, if I find a reason to sleep, I'll fall asleep.
By the way, I edited the we got the full I got the full ESPN F1 on ESPN schedule up. Like it's all like, by the way, I put ESPN Network for practice 1 because that's unknown yet, but we also have like ESPN 2 for most practices with ESPN 2 and ABC will be broadcasting. And this weekend, let me go check Shanghai. We have our first practice is Thursday, April 11th, 9:55 p.m. Eastern on ESPN News.
10:55 p.m.
9:55 p.m. Eastern. Then practice 2, 1:50. Yep, it's televised on ESPN News. Okay, so practice 2, 1:55 a.m. Eastern on ESPN 2. And then we have practice 3 on Friday, April 12th at 10:55 Eastern on ESPN News again. F1 qualifying at 1:55 a.m. Eastern on ESPN 2 on Saturday. On Sunday, April 14th at 12:05 a.m. Eastern is the Chinese Grand Prix on ESPN 2. It's ESPN 2's broadcasting, qualifying and the race, and most practices will be on ESPN News, except practice 2 is going to be on ESPN 2. So that's the schedule for this weekend. That I have that on my Facebook already written. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I think like the qualifying and the race. I think the race is the most important thing. Like I don't know if you remember during Melbourne for round 1 that qualifying
that race
started at 1:55 a.m. I didn't watch that. Like I actually went to sleep. Like the race is more important to watch. Like sometimes if I don't have it in me, I'll fall asleep.
Well, it's Melbourne. Melbourne is the most entertaining.
But we also have Azerbaijan after. That's going to be easier. Then we have
Azerbaijan, like all the races in Europe.
Azerbaijan. Then we have
the 2 Middle Eastern races.
Then we have
Bahrain and Abu Dhabi. If they weren't night races, we would have to be up in the middle of the night.
We have Spain. After that, we have Spain. Then we have
Spain comes after Azerbaijan.
And then Monaco. 2 weeks after Spain, we have Monaco.
When is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix?
Azerbaijan is the week after Easter, the same week as Talladega weekend. Because remember, we have
Easter and Passover that week is off.
Yeah, we have Easter not this weekend, next on the 21st.
Yeah, I checked the schedule.
So then we have then after Monaco, we have the Canadian Grand Prix. Like basic Canadian Grand Prix. Then we have the French Grand Prix. We're in France. After that, we have the Austrian Grand Prix the week after. Then we have British Grand Prix 2 weeks after. We have the British Grand Prix. We have different, like it's.
Yeah. I wanted to mention like the Suzuka race will be pretty hard for us.
Oh yeah, that one.
Who do you guys think is gonna win the Chinese Grand Prix? The
Me,
Grand Prix.
I think Lewis Hamilton. Not 44. He has 5 victories and he has a good car. He's won there before. He's won the pole there, and he's fast. Or
I'm gonna go with Vettel.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Vettel too.
Did Vettel ever win there?
I think he has.
Yeah,
I think only once. I think he only has one win there. Doesn't have much compared to like I know Nico Rosberg, and I know that Nico Rosberg and Fernando Alonso have 2 victories, but Hamilton would.
I'm looking right now. Shanghai, he has 1 win.
What year?
It came in 2009 when he started first and finished first for Red Bull.
It's been a while.
But
10
he
years.
also has 2 second-place finishes for Ferrari, a third, a second for Red Bull. So yeah.
I think Sebastian Vettel. I think Vettel's gonna get the win. I mean, you saw, like I said, Melbourne is like Melbourne is like I don't want to say it's like Daytona for F1 in the sense of like you don't necessarily get the best grasp as whose championship contenders are going to be. At least what I see a lot of people in F1 say. But yeah, after Bahrain, you could see that those Ferraris are fast.
They are.
So if they could keep if they got to keep Bahrain, they were better than the Mercedes. They just had reliability issues and Vettel, wanting to turn into a dreidel. So I think if Vettel can minimize the mistakes, and seeing how good Ferrari's been at Bahrain, I think it's going to translate to China, and I think Vettel's going to get the win. But I think Charles will be up there. I think it's going to be between Vettel, Hamilton, and Charles. But Bottas will be up there as well. But I think it's going to be between those three.
How long do you think the tires will last for a stint before you pit?
I don't know how many.
I don't know. Maybe like I'm just going to throw a random number out there. Honestly, maybe,
I think 8 laps.
I want to say maybe 10 laps.
I don't know how. Let me go check how many laps the race is. Come on.
56.
Depends on the tire strategy the teams want to use.
Depends what tires they use.
It depends on the strategy they want to use.
Yeah.
What about
do you think
what about the weather? We have the weather. We don't know the weather yet. It's what the?
That is true. Last year the weather was pretty good, but I don't know if you saw the 6 hours of Shanghai in November in the WC race. That race was treacherous with rain.
Well, yeah, that's in November. Like we're in April.
So
that is true. The weather over there is a little different than it is now. It was pretty clear blue skies when we came last time.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will be honest. Daniel Ricciardo will get a points finish.
Yeah, I think Ricciardo will get a points finish. I think Sainz will get a points finish. I think the Williams cars are still going to be in the back of the grid.
By the way, the weather, Friday, Saturday, perfect. Hey, rain. We have rain. And it's a lot of rain. Heavy rain.
We have a wet start here. You better be careful in those first few turns. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
We might say it's, those classic first-term pileups.
But I mean, it's like a long first turn when you go kind of like half throttle it, not like a brake jamming turn one that you usually have.
Oh yeah, that's true. But yeah, my pick, Vettel's gonna win it. If you're asking for a podium, Vettel, Charles, and Bottas.
For me, it's Lewis Hamilton, Bottas, and Leclerc. For me, that's my podium for the top three. That's my top three picks for the podium.
For my podium,
Really?
I have Vettel, Bottas, and Hamilton.
All right.
I think we got a lot of covered here.
Yeah. All right. There's something I wanted to talk about. Two things. One, a lot of people are saying on how something I noticed. A lot of people have been clamoring back to more short tracks. I find it funny how they are the same ones that I see that are starting to say remove the first Bristol race. I get they're saying put an extra short track, but what makes you think that that's going to do better if Bristol isn't doing as good?
Yeah, we've seen there's not much. Remember, you saw the picture 2009, 10 years ago, more fans. 2019, 10 years later.
2009, the race was sold out, I believe.
Yeah. Daytona, people say NASCAR climbing.
Well, the Daytona 500 is always going to be sold out because it's a crown jewel race. Bristol is not a crown jewel race. There's a lot more worth going to the night race at Bristol in August than there is going to the first race in the spring. The weather's a little bit
here's
more
why.
forgiving. We'll go on.
Here's why I think that here's why I think just short track races in general tend to suffer, and here's why. When you think about auto racing, what's the main thing that you think of? One of the main appeals. Exactly. What do short tracks lack?
Speed, yeah.
Speed.
Yeah, you don't go fast. You don't have that sensation of, oh, look how fast these cars are going. They're breaking nearly 200 miles, 170 miles an hour. Now, obviously, the hardcore fans, the ones who really know more about it, who pay more attention, they see it's beating and banging, boys, they have to see it all that. But maybe people who don't see it like that, maybe the casual, as much as I hate to say that if we're talking about NASCAR fans, talk about the casual fan, they're probably thinking speed. They want to see how fast these cars go. They want to see the speed, the sensation. When we go to short tracks, they're thinking, okay, they're not really going fast. 2 years ago, when Brad Keselowski won the race at Martinsville in 2017, I was watching my dad, and even my dad said, this is boring. They're going so slow.
About Bristol, the highest speed you go is 140, and you go down to 90. Martinsville, 130. Go down to 60. Because it's, yeah. At Richmond, go 150, going to turn 1. Slow down to 95. Because you have to really use brakes.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that, obviously, I'm not saying oh, get rid of short tracks. I'm not saying that short tracks are bad. I'd rather have more short tracks, but I'm saying it's that's probably a lot of people, when they think of racing, they think of the cars going fast. That's one of the main appeals to IndyCar.
That's true.
The speed. When you think of IndyCar, when you think of F1, exactly, the speed. It's it's a sensation of speed, When you think of 20, you think of Talladega. It's oh, breaking 200 miles an hour. When you think of IndyCar, when you think of F1, how can we get these cars to go faster? So when you go to a short track, you don't really get that feeling.
About who was it? About Dover. That's for Dover is different. It's a short track, but you don't go that slow. You go to 170. You don't slow down to 145 because it's a
There's
different
a distinction with those tracks, though. That makes the short track aspect special. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's probably one of the main reasons to why short track tend to have lower TV ratings and attendance. I literally thought about it like 2 days ago.
It's very interesting. Look at the iceberg on YouTube. If you viewers want to look at more NASCAR content, look up the iceberg. That's a great YouTube channel.
Yep.
I subscribe to him. He posts videos about NASCAR and their daily issues all the time. It's worth the subscribe. So
Yeah.
give him a chance. He's worth the watch. Also, on that note, his podcast crew, Black Flags Matter.
Yeah.
Darian, great guy. He posts one of the best in-depth NASCAR videos on YouTube. And of course, Danny B. Talks. Danny, he's just excellent.
And
I think all of them.
Car.
Yeah. And also, you guys should give a subscribe to NASCAR 88. He may be on hiatus for a little bit, but when he comes back, he's going to be strong on YouTube. So,
Yep.
Another thing I want to talk about is going to go back to the Richard Petty Kyle Busch debate. I've seen a lot of people say that, Richard Petty's 200 wins to 7 titles, they don't mean as much because of the era he was in. He was in such more competitive equipment than the entire field. To those people, like I said, I've been saving this the entire day. I have something that I feel like could debunk that argument. If Richard Petty, if he basically most of his achievements were due to the equipment of the area he was in, why does Lee Petty, his father, they raced for the same team, only have 54 wins and 3 championships?
Lee Petty had a shorter career. He also started late.
Yeah,
he
but
also
it's like
wasn't
if you're
just focused on driving. He had to raise a big family.
Yeah, but it's like if we're talking about if like the thing I hear so much about is competitiveness and equipment. Lee Petty, he's still a legend, but it's like if we're basing solely off of equipment and era, Lee Petty should have maybe as much as Richard Petty, maybe as much as David Pearson.
If I say about that, Kyle Busch tied Lee Petty yesterday with 54 wins. They're tied for 10th overall in the Cup Series.
But you got to remember, the Cup Series was different. Like your local short track race was considered a Cup race.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean the eras are completely different. Like I don't compare Richard Petty's to Kyle Busch's.
You can't.
I don't agree. It's impossible to compare. I don't necessarily agree with how legitimate the 200 wins are, but that's just my opinion. But you can't compare the 200 wins. However, when it gets annoying when people start trying to debunk Richard Petty's championships. I mean, it's like, if that's the case, then we need to start debunking.
Nobody's more or less of each other in this debate because it's kind of incomparable. But don't get me wrong, Richard Petty could drive the wheels off a car.
Yeah, it's like in that case, it's like you're gonna have to start debunking AJ Foyt, Mario Andretti,
AJ Foyt,
Fangio, because then we're talking about eras.
Foyt and Fangio were two complete different eras, and AJ Foyt had a pretty long career from the late 50s to the mid 90s. He's seen it all. As for Juan Manuel Fangio, he started pretty much raced. He was the star in the 50s, driving an F1. Foyt is one of those drivers where he could drive in anything. But if you look, I mean, it's hard to say if you compare drivers, but as for the best race car drivers of all time, I think my eyes are actually on Juan Pablo Montoya and Mario Andretti for that reason.
Oh, yeah, Juan Pablo Montoya. Like, everyone says, Fernando Alonso, he's going to get the Triple Crown. You got to think about it. If Juan Pablo Montoya, he already has the Indy 500. He already has the Monaco Grand Prix. He just needs 24 hours of Le Mans. He could do that.
He can easily win a Le Mans 20.
Yeah, he can easily win a Le Mans. Alonso, he could win Indianapolis. Don't get me wrong. I think both of them have an equal shot at winning the. Well, And
Hey,
this,
by the way,
in this case now, Alonso's a better shot because I
What's
don't
up, Justin?
Montoya is.
about the last driver to actually win an F1 race, NASCAR and IndyCar is Juan Pablo Montoya. It's the last driver to do that.
To win an
Good.
F1, IndyCar, and NASCAR.
Yeah, he's the last driver to do that.
By the way, you got to remember something. Juan Pablo Montoya won the championship in his very first year in IndyCar.
That's
Title back in 1990. You should look up the championship.
was it 1999 or 2000? I thought it was 2000.
2000, he won the Indy 500.
Oh, where's my phone?
He
Oh,
ranked
right here.
99.
Oh, go check.
Well, Indy 500 in 2000. But Montoya beat Franchitti by no points. Despite that, he got the tiebreaker because he had 7 wins in his rookie year. Who wins 7 races in the rookie year in the IndyCar series? Who does that?
Yeah, you're not
That's
gonna
like unheard of.
Yeah.
Wait, you said 1999?
Yeah, 1999 kart season.
Cart. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, CART. Remember, because IndyCar had 2 leagues back then.
Yeah, they had the
Kart
Indy
and
Racing League.
Yeah, the Indy Racing League, the IRL.
Champions. Yeah, it was Juan Pablo Montoya. Oh, Gelderfarren won 2000. So Montoya won, and he was Rookie of the Year. Montoya drove for Chip Ganassi in the number 4 with his teammate Jimmy Vasser.
Who was his teammate?
Jimmy Vasser.
Jimmy Vasser was his teammate.
Oh,
Al
Jimmy
Vasser's with Dale Coyne.
Like we have, like literally, the first race was at Homestead, the Oval. Then we had Twing Ring Motegi. Then Long Beach, Nazareth. Then we had the Rio, Autodromo de Jasapuga, Gateway, Milwaukee, Portland, Cleveland, was the street circuit, Road America, Exhibition Place, Michigan, Bells Isle, Mid-Ohio, Chicago Motor Speedway, that is an old track that closed in 2003, only was open for 4 years. Then we had Laguna Seca, Houston, Surfers Paradise, and California Speedway.
But you see how diverse the calendar was back then
Yeah.
and what Montoya could do?
Yeah.
And then, how many Grand Prix wins did he have in his career? 7?
Montoya? Let me check.
Yeah, he had 7 wins.
But don't know what? They were going to have a 21st race,
It was an exhibition regardless.
but they canceled it. They canceled,
Was it because of Greg Moore's death?
I think, because it was the Hawaiian Grand Prix. No, it's because of,
Oh, having a race in Hawaii.
it says lack of revenue, poor decisions. It was poor decision. That's why.
I mean, I don't know how you have a race in Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's ever happened before. Unless you're talking about Mr. Clean Speedway. Well, but that's a Hawaiian Rockingham from NASCAR. NASCAR 6.
Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean.
Like, about, I have to check something. Now the entry list is only going to be released, oh my gosh, tomorrow. The Cup entry list, the Xfinity entry list, IndyCar entry list will be soon at one point. IMSA entry list is already out, by the way. It's already released.
Some, I forgot what it was I was thinking. What else do we have on the motorsports map coming up?
Wow.
Oh, supercars. Some of the supercars.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about those. Holy crap.
We had the Tasmania Super Sprint that took place. And let's talk about the first race at Tasmania. It came down to Scott McLaughlin, who beat his teammate Fabian Coulthard, leading 41 of the 50 laps in the race.
Yeah.
Scoring himself 150 points in the win. beating out Shane Van Gisbergen, Winterbottom, and James Courtney. That was your top 5 in that race. And, of course, the very next day, we had the Tire Power Tasmania Super Sprint number 2, which was won by Shane Van Gisbergen, who led 69 of the 84 laps. So bringing the victory to Red Bull, Triple Eight HRT team, and Fabian Coulthard gets another second-place finish for the Shelby Power Penske Ford. David Reynolds for the Erebus Motorsport got his Holden in 3rd. Scott McLaughlin, who won race 1, and is the points leader. Jamie Whincup in 5th. And McLaughlin has a 124-point lead over teammate Fabian Coulthard, who's in 2nd. Jamie Whincup and Wincup's teammate Van Gisbergen is in 4th. That's 3rd and 4th, 166 points back. And 171 points back is David Reynolds. 177 points back is Chaz Mostert. What do you guys think we're going to see, after all those events?
Oh, God. I don't know. Like I literally slept.
We're going to Phillip Island next race, and next weekend. It's going to be rounds 9 and 10.
Wait.
And then where do we go? We go to Perth.
Man,
They're going to have they're going to actually have a super night or night race.
and next
That's
week
hard
is
for us.
March 12th and 14th. April 12th and 14th. What? By the way, that's the next thing is the Phillip Island Super Sprint. That's the next race.
And then we go to Perth. After that, Winton. And then we go to Darwin. And then after that, 2 races for each one. For Winton, 2 races for Darwin. 2 races for Townville, for the Townville 400. And then, is it Ipswich Super Sprint, 19 and 20. And we have Auckland. We go to Auckland in New Zealand for rounds 23, 24. And then, of course, round 25, we have the Bathurst 1000.
Hey, Joseph, by the way,
highlight race of the year.
This weekend is the Phillip Island Super Sprint. That's this weekend. That's Phillip Island Sprint Free Circuit. Then we have Perth, Winton, Hidden Valley, Reed Park Street Circuit, Queensland Raceway, the Bend Motor Park, Gerhardt Park Raceway, Mount Panorama's Bathurst 1000. Then we go to Surfers Paradise, Vodafone Gold Coast at 600. Then we have the Sandown 500 and Sandown International Motor Raceway. And then the last race of the Coast-Tire Newcastle 500 at Newcastle Street Circuit. That's the last race of the season on November 24th.
Oh, yeah. Then we have, after Bathurst, we have the 2 races at Gold Coast. Sandown is just 1 race, Sandown 500. And then Newcastle will have rounds 29 and, of course, season finale round 30. So far, the only teams that have won outside of Penske and AAA, and basically the only driver besides McLaughlin, 2 drivers that have won is Sam Van Gisbergen last race, and of course the 5th race at Melbourne, Chaz Mostert in Tickford Racing. So it's been all Fords this year. It's been all McLaughlin this year, the reigning champion. But who can stop him? I think it's going to come down to the hands of Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, me too. I think he's going to be a close competitor with him.
And if Jamie Whincup wants to win an 8 championship, he's got to start, and it's got to start now. All right, Armani. I think we've capped off a lot of the supercars now, and I think we're ready for that. Then.
Yeah, right now it is been almost an hour and a half. Wow. Almost an hour and a half.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah, we covered IndyCar, NASCAR, IMSA, F1, and supercars. That was the things that was last weekend. Yeah, we covered it all.
All right. So I think we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
You guys got anything you want to say before we sign off?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for watching this podcast.
All right. That's episode 1 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I'm your host, Armani. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week at the same time, Monday, 7:30 Eastern. We're hoping to get our buddy Ian on where he can talk about his favorite driver, Tyler Reddick.
All right.
If that happens, you can look at all the news on World Racing Media on Twitter, or you can look at my Twitter at Armani DePaul. I'll leave that all in the description, blah, 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 blah. That's where we get most of our news from. And all right, so thanks for watching.